Okay, so this video is going to be on the new WhiteKidney server called Everlook. So if you're not familiar, WhiteKidney was one of the coders, developers, I'm not exactly sure on the title, but he was one of the top people on the, I believe, Elysium server, but if not, if I'm incorrect there, I know for sure he did Lights Hope and Northdale. And I did play on those servers back before Classic came out. They all shut down when Classic came out, but I played on those prior to Classic, so like years ago now. But what Everlook is trying to do is they're trying to be the new fresh Blizz-like private server, and what I mean by Blizz-like is they are not doing for the most part, any changes, it's going to be how it was back in the day in actual vanilla World of Warcraft. And though I do think that they are going to look at some minor changes, but it's really on a case-by-case basis. Now, if you're not familiar with a Blizz-like server, if you just started playing private servers after Classic, for example, you would notice that almost every single private server that's out right now are highly changed, right? I think from my memory, that is the closest Blizz-like vanilla server is probably going to be Turtle WoW, even though there's a plus at the end, like they have new dungeons, new zones, new raids. All of the original vanilla stuff is there. They didn't do their class changes yet, and everything else is pretty much, not including all the added stuff, right? Everything else is vanilla-like. It's a ×1 experience rate, yada, yada, yada. And then, of course, you have the new zones and everything. But then if you look at, like, servers like Ascension, Hour of Twilight, Vanilla Plus, there's changed numbers, Hour of Twilight is just completely different, right? It's like a completely different game. Ascension WoW's completely overhauled. These are all, custom servers. They're not Blizz-like servers. They're not how it was. But playing Lights Hope, playing Northdale, I played those. I didn't play Nostalrius. I did play on Chronos before they made Chronos 2, 3, 4. That's basically what they were. They were trying to recreate the original vanilla WoW, and then, Classic came out, yada yada. Anyway, that's a whole history story that I can get into later, but you're probably wondering about Everlook's server. Now, I already said Blizz-like, but again, what I was saying earlier is, what if you just started playing after, like, playing private servers after Classic, so all you know are, like, custom servers? So I browsed through their Q&A they had. Somebody wrote down all, if not most, of the answers. Now, I am not going to go through every single one, but I picked out ones that I thought were most relevant. Now, I'm going to just go through them. There's no precise order here. So, it's, and I'm only going to give the answers to. You don't really need the question to figure out what the context is. This is all easy. Anyway, so, now this little bit of information I actually took from Alex Sensual, so I'm going to give him credit there. He assumes that there's going to be 10,000 players on this server at launch. That's what he's estimating. So, there's that bit. Now, from Everlook itself, they say they don't know how many are going to be at launch, but they're trying to make it so their server will be able to hold 20,000 players. Now, if it doesn't work out, if they have to dial it back or anything, they will open a second server as needed. So if they completely, lag out the server with how many people are online, then they are completely open to open a second server. But they're trying to make it so it can hold up to 20,000. And now that's not, everyone piling on top of each other. I'm talking about actual, overloading lag issues, right? So now, the next thing I wrote down is that they are trying for a release this year, a 2022 release. I really think they should at least aim for the end of 2022, because they are building the hype. They've got the hype. They have it in their hand now. Now, here's the issue. Since they're going Blizz-like and they've already done these types of servers before, I don't think there's any reason for them to hold on for it longer than a year, which I don't know how long they've been working on it so far, but let's just say this year is their year, right? Because they've already done it before. This is stuff that's already existed Blizz-like. You know, it's not anything new and custom that they're developing. I would say they have to release it this year because they have the hype. They have it. If they wait too long, people are just going to get fed up and leave. They're just going to be like, okay, I've waited too long, I'm done. So, I think by the end of this year is probably when they have to release it. And that's what they're aiming for, but they don't have a specific date yet. Now, I already said that this is the same person or same group of people. I don't know if it's the whole group, but I know WhiteKidney worked on Lights, Hope, and Northdale. So if you're familiar with those servers, it's going to be the exact same. Now, what does that mean if you don't know what that means? They are a very Blizz-like, and they will actually go patch by patch. They're not going to do phases like Classic WoW did, you know, phase 1, 2, 3, 4. No, they actually start at patch 1.02, right? Obviously, that's not the first patch. You know, it's not patch 1. It's patch 1.0.2. And then from there, they go every patch up to 1.12, which is the last patch, obviously. So they go patch by patch. Itemization. I think they said that very few items will have their 1.12 changes. Their example was Noggin Fogger. But in general, most items, especially gear, is going to have their original stats when they were first implemented, and then over the course of the patches, as they were changed in original vanilla, they will change again. Now, I remember, I think, oh god, who said this? I think it was S-Fan who brought this up back before Classic came out. He brought up the issue that, if gear was launched on launch of Classic WoW in their 1.12 state, which is what Blizzard did with Classic WoW, it would give people an overall advantage. Because a lot of gear that you could get in the beginning of the game, it was buffed over time or changed over time to give it, you know, various qualities, various stats, numbers, yada, yada, yada. But they didn't start off that way. And in their final state, they were very good. Now, I think they were standard for when they were changed. But if you got that changed form in the beginning of the launch, you already have an advantage because it's so good. And that was an issue that S-Fan brought up with Classic WoW, and he was right. And it affected the best in slots and all this other stuff. I don't know, it's stupid. Anyway, but yeah, they're going to have progressive itemization. So that's a good thing. That's going to help not make the raids as easy. Sorry, I just had Taco Bell, so I'm a little bit... Anyway, they're not going to have a plus experience. So like I said with Turtle WoW, which is a vanilla plus experience, patch 1.13 and beyond, making new content. They're not going to do that. They're going to stay restricted to vanilla. The next one on here is going to be a ×1 experience rate, so just flat out as is experience rate. There's not gonna be any experience boosting buffs, anything game-wise, that is. I'll get to the boosting later, like player boosting later. Black Lotus will be bind on pickup until 1.07, which makes it highly rare at the beginning of the game. But the thing is, while you will need it, I think, at the beginning of the game, I think it was towards, what was it, AQ or Nax? I think it was Nax, that's when you really needed Black Lotus, and by then it's going to be bind on, well, not bind on equipped, it's not even equipped, it's going to be tradable. And a lot of people, I remember this in Classic WoW, they went around picking up the Black Lotus and stockpiling them until Nax, and then by Nax they would have hundreds, thousands of Black Lotus to just sell for hundreds and thousands of gold, and it was a mess. But anyway, they're gonna be bind on they're gonna be bind a player until patch 7. They've confirmed no layering on the server, but they will have dynamic respawns. Now, if you're not familiar with dynamic respawn, it basically means the more concentrated that the player base is in a particular area, enemy spawns, and I think they mentioned item spawns, like quest item spawns too, will be significantly increased. So if you kill a mob, they'll respawn relatively quick. So it's not going to be just dead. You're fighting for spawns. They're going to keep spawning so you can get a couple of kills in, right? If your cactus apple gets taken before you just wait 2 seconds and it appears again. And that's, because there's 50 people on top of the cactus apple, right? As they disperse and go out into the world, it will return to its original, 5-minute boar spawn timer or whatever. So I actually like that kind of system. It makes it a lot easier for launches. I played the launch of Northdale. I played the launch of a lot of servers, including Classic WoW. I am used to that kind of bullshittery. So, somebody asked them about the debuffs, and they said they are undecided about the debuffs. So, debuff slots, undecided. The next one was, you can level boost your friends and guildies, to help out a friend or a guildie. However, you are not allowed to advertise the service for money or gold publicly. So you cannot advertise boosting services to other players, but if you were to help out a friend or a guildie, it would be okay. And I think that's completely fine. Now, I actually think if you were selling a boost for in-game money, just for, like, gold or whatever, I don't really see an issue. I mean, I know why people don't like boosting. It's because, oh, well, they're just paying to win. I completely get that, but at the same time, like, if it's just for in-game gold, I don't really see an issue with it. If it was for real-life money, then I have a big issue, because that is kind of pay to win. But if you're doing it for gold, you have to first make the gold, right? If you're a new player, you're not going to have 20 gold sparingly to keep buying boosts. It'd be later on, like when you're on your alt, so your main can fund your thing. At that point, you've already played the game. So, in-game money, I mean, even back, I don't do this now anymore, but back in the day, like, Wrath of the Lich King, maybe, I actually sold Scarlet Monastery runs, not even for gold. I sold them for the cloth, because I made money by selling the cloth, but, the person's not going to want the cloth, right? They're like, oh, yeah, I don't need the silk cloth, you can take it. So I took the silk cloth. I said, hey, look, I'll run you. You can have every item. All I want is the cloth. And I would sell the cloth on the auction house. That's actually how I made my money in Wrath of the Lich King, just by selling cloth. Netherweave, Frostweave, Silk, Mageweave, Rune Cloth, all of that went for a lot. Now it's worth jack all shit, but still. But anyway, the next thing that I have on here is they are going to have absolutely no cash shop. Every single private server, even the more honest ones, right? They all have cash shops. What the fuck? Even Turtle WoW, and I gave them a negative score on that in my review. I love Turtle WoW. I'm always playing Turtle WoW, but I gave them shit for that. I don't like cash shops. Now, I bought a Null Illusion, but that's because it's cosmetics. I don't care about stupid little cosmetic stuff like that, right? But when you're buying mounts, when you're buying spawnable banks, mailboxes, a repair bot, that's definitely an advantage. That's a pay-to-win mechanic. The mounts, especially the mounts, because in Turtle WoW, the mounts actually, you could ride one at level 1, and the higher level you go, up until level like 40 or something, they progress their speed, so they actually run faster than walking speed. Now, they won't get to mount speed. You still have to buy the mounted mount training in order to go mount speed, but still, that is a form of paying to get an advantage. So I don't like that. I don't agree with that at all. But illusions, and I think illusions are fine. I mean, it's not increasing your gameplay at all. You just look like a gnoll. But anyway, the next one is real quick on top of that. So no cash shop and donations are being debated. Now they have no plans for donations as of right now, but it's not a flat out no. They might allow donations, but that's still up in the air. It's not decided yet. The next thing is that this will be a vanilla server. They will not progress into TBC. So that's one thing. GDKP is not permitted, and you will be banned if caught. So, if you're not familiar with GDKP, it's basically like DKP, but with gold. So, instead of saying like, oh, you lose 50 DKP, 50 DKP minus. That's the meme, right? Well, instead of that, it's, hey, this pair of boots dropped. Bid for it. Who's got the most gold? Who wants the most? Bid for it. And you bid, 200 gold, 300 gold, 500 gold. Okay, sold. And then the gold goes to the guild, and they use, the gold for whatever the fuck they want to do, right? It's the guild money now, or that person's money. But, that kind of stuff, they are not gonna allow. Again, I don't really have an issue with this, because, again, DKP... gold. I mean, okay, so I can see now why it would be an issue. So DKP, like earning up a form of currency that you can use to kind of like pay for items, as long as you can use the item, right? That's a big thing. Not just giving it to anybody who will give you whatever currency. I think if you got two hunters, both of them equal, right? Both of them need the gear. They're both equal in stats, give or take a couple of DPS. Whoever gives the most of that currency, I think should get it, because that's a way to settle who would get it, right? And then, okay, so this guy got it this week, next week, the other hunter can get it. I don't know. There's a line, right? There's a line to be crossed, and I can see, now that I'm running it through my head, I can see now why gold, now, on its head, gold as a currency for items, I don't think is that bad, but in today's age, where people are illegally behind closed doors, with the curtain and everything, secret handshake, buying gold, boosting gold, farming gold, all of the, scummy things, right? Not just, I need to make some gold to earn a mount, so I'm gonna farm up some herbs or whatever. People doing that honestly is fine, but all the back alley stuff, right? That is why I could see a problem with gold DKP, because then people are doing shady shit, paying real money for gold to pay to win. So, okay, so now I can, running it through my head, that's why GDKP is going to be banned. But I think if they had just normal DKP, again, that's a fake currency that you can't really buy. That's a guild currency. Guild-given currency. I've run with DKP before. It's whatever. Right? Tradable loot. Now, here's a big one. They've said it is being discussed. Because, again, if something gets traded by accident, you meant to click the warlock and you click the mage, there's nothing you can do at that point. It was an honest accident, mistake. But this, because most private servers run on a small team, they don't have the resources to help every single time this sort of issue comes up. So having tradable loot would help alleviate that. But on the other hand, you could have people giving gear to their friend, right? So they're giving, the gear is given to people that don't earn it, don't need it, don't whatever. And there's a lot of issues with tradable loot. But it's, again, how do you want to scale it? Do you want to not have the issues that come with it, but be more burdened by it as a developer or a game master or whatever? Or do you let the tradable loot in and the chaos happen, but now you're not as stressed? So, whatever happens, there's pros and cons to each decision. No transmog, because transmog was brought in Cataclysm, so it's not going to be in vanilla. Okay, so remember how I said it is a very progressive server? Well, that will mean no battlegrounds and no honor points at launch. You can obviously PvP in the world, but no battlegrounds and no honor points, because that was added in a later patch. Also on top of that, so they didn't say this, I'm just adding to it. When battlegrounds first come out, you're gonna have to go to the fucking portal in order to get into them. You're gonna actually have to go to the Warsong Gulch portal, the Arathi Basin portal, and I remember this, I think it was on Northdale. I was on my Warlock and I went to the Arathi Basin portal. There's a bunch of people there because they all want to do Arathi Basin. And you have the Alliance coming over and trying to gank us. And then we're going over to their portal and trying to gank them. And it was fun. But Altaric Valley is also really fun. I'm going to get to Altaric Valley in a second. The next one, so this one's for Hunters. Lupos will have shadow damage as he did in the original game, but will be nerfed on the patch he was originally nerfed. So when Lupos is supposed to be good, he will be good. Later on, when it was nerfed in the actual game, he will get nerfed. So there's that. At the beginning of the server, go for Lupos, get that shadow damage in, right? Absolutely no looking for dungeon, looking for group. So there's that. Mail to alts. Okay, so if you send mail to your alts, it will be instant. If you send it to other players, it will take 1 hour. Now, I think they said they will discuss if it will be shorter or not, but for right now, it's going to say an hour, which is vanilla-like. No summoning stones. Now, they have meeting stones, right? Meeting stones is just to signify, hey, there's a dungeon here. Here's a place for people to meet up at, and then go into the dungeon. Summoning stones did not become summoning stones until, I think, TBC. Until then, they're just called meeting stones. So you will not be able to summon with the meeting stones, because they are not summoning stones, they are meeting zones. Okay, they are unsure on honor. Oh, no. Okay, the next thing is that, so the person who wrote down all these Q&A questions and answers, they were unable to hear the answer for if there will be unarmored mounts, the unarmored level 60 ones, but I do remember, I think they were in Lights Hope and Northdale, and because this is a very vanilla progressive server, it's highly possible it's going to be there. Again, they probably did say yes or no. I don't know. The person writing down the Q&A did not manage to catch the question. But from my recollection, I think I remember them on Northdale and Lights Hope, which means that might translate into this server, and yes, they will be available. It's highly possible. So I'm saying that because, you know. And then the last thing I want to talk about is original AV. So if you played Classic, you didn't get original AV. You got the nerfed AV. Now, AV has been nerfed countless of times over the span of WoW's life. Especially, like, I remember playing it, you know, in Wrath of the Lich King, and I think that was the version that we got in Classic WoW, because they nerfed it again later. Because, you know, now, if you played right now in retail, no one summons the elementals, no one summons the bats, no one summons the wolf riders, no one does any of that. You know, they rush to the end. At most, they might kill Balina, and then they'll go on to kill the dwarf guy. I forgot his name. But, the nerfed version at the end of Classic, people still kind of did that, but it wasn't as often. So people still did summon the elementals. They still sometimes killed the troll boss. Again, it wasn't as often. Now, in original AV, now, I didn't do this on Lights Hope, but I did it on Northdale. So, what it is I'm trying, there's so many things. I'm trying to think of what to say first. First of all, the Field of Strife, the area in the middle of AV, is full of NPCs fighting each other. Horde and Alliance NPCs fight. It actually looks like a freaking battle. Just, they all took that out later. I don't know why, it's cool. But you see the NPCs actually fighting in the middle like it's an actual war. Now, beyond the field of strife, when you start getting to the other side, the other team's side, there are a lot of elite NPCs. Elites. There are captains, there are lieutenants that are basically mini bosses, and they just kind of roam around the area, right? And they will kick your fucking ass if you try moving solo or even in a small group. You need a big group or the entirety of your group to go and rush ahead, and you got to either clear out the bunker, which help make them stop spawning. I think there will still be spawns. I don't quite remember on that part, but destroying the bunkers or towers or whatever do help. And remember, there are no reinforcements. That's why games took so long. There are no reinforcements. That, I think, was either added in the very last patch of Vanilla or in TBC. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, so you will not, if you get, like, you know, if you're in your group and you get killed and get sent back to a far graveyard, if you're trying to get back to them and they're ahead, you're going to need a group or stealth or something to get up there, because you're going to get separated easily. Landmines. Stay on the roads. Don't go off in enemy territory, that is. Don't go off-road, because there are landmines fucking everywhere. I think in the nerfed version, they only had it toward the end of the area, like near the main base. But in original AV, landmines are fucking everywhere. And they will two-shot you. They hurt. So, and they don't stop spawning until you kill the Bomb Master, which is in, you know, the final, it's in the main base. So, the Bomb Master is always in the main base, so you have to kill them for them to stop spawning. There are areas on the side of AV. Now, no one ever goes to these because there's no reason to, but there are areas on the sides of AV that were completely cut later on in an update. I don't remember which update, but there's entire sides that no one ever goes to, again, because there's no reason to. The individual caves that you would go to do the quests for, if you're just questing in AV, they're elite. So later on, they nerfed them so they were not elite, so you could just go do them by yourself. But they're elite. You need a group of 5 players. Well, at least 2 to 3 players, really. But I'm saying 5 as an example. But no, you need at least a couple of people to run those caves. Because what were they, like Yeti and Harpy? I don't remember. But they are hard. You cannot solo it. I tried soloing it on my Hunter. And it was just hard. I think I'm going to try on my Warlock too. But AV is so much harder, and it lasts a lot longer. Now, people are like, oh man, I don't want to do fucking 8-hour AVs. Yes, they can happen. 7 to 8 hour AVs can happen, but on average, from the amount of times because I played AV a lot on Northdale, the amount of times I played, I would say the majority of AVs lasted 2 hours, and the reason behind the 2 hours was because people wanted to wait for the troll boss. Oh, that's something else. There's an entire third faction called the Winterox Trolls. That's not, you know, Horde or Alliance. They'll attack both sides. Every single troll is elite, and they're freaking hard. You need a group of people to claim the Winterox graveyard and all that kind of stuff, because they hurt. But anyway, there's a boss, like a big hulking, I can't remember his name, Korvok, I don't remember, but big hulking troll boss. He spawns every 2 hours, and he doesn't spawn on the launch. So the moment you get into AV, his timer starts, and then you have 2 hours, and then he spawns, and people want to kill him for the quest to kill him, because it awards you a blue item, and a lot of the blue items are very good. So I remember people waited around and just kind of, you know, pussyfooted, fucked around, at least try to get close to the end, but not completely finish it, until he spawned, and then Horde Alliance went at it. Somebody would tap him, kill him. Okay, let's finish up the match now. And then shortly after, the match would be finished. So there's that. Now, the fastest I've ever seen a AV go through was maybe 30 minutes. That was the fastest, and that's happened at least 2 to 3 times for me. And then the longest one I was ever in was about 7 to 8 hours, and that happened maybe like 2 or 3 times. But I would leave and come back and it would still be going. That was great. And I like that kind of stuff because I like that type of stuff because, again, people want to rush to the end to get the reward at the end. What do you get? 3 points, right? Oh, 3 points. But the longer you stay in AV, you do the AV stuff, you kill people in AV, you get honor. And I think that's what's more important, was the honor for ranking and stuff like that, right? You get honor by actively playing it. And the longer you're in there, you know, obviously the more honor you're going to get. And I love that kind of stuff. I don't like rushing to the end to get the reward, to go back in, to start over. And I like full-on war mode, just go at it, feel like an actual battle, and you are getting rewarded as you play the battleground. That's something I like. But anyway, I'm ranting now about AV for like 10 minutes now. But yeah, that's everything I have to bring about the Everlook server and how amazing vanilla AV is. But yeah, that's gonna be me. Now, am I going to play the server? That's the last thing I'm gonna stop on. I don't think so, because I'm kind of like I said, I played Chronos, I played Elysium, Lights Hope. There was another one I played, I don't remember its name, and I played Northdale, and then Classic WoW, and I'm just kind of done and burnt out starting over to get to 60, and then something happens with the server, or there's a new fresh server and everyone leaves the server dies, or whatever it is, and then I gotta make another character, and I'm just kind of sick and tired of that. I love vanilla WoW, but I don't like restarting every single time. And the thing is, the reason why I'm playing Turtle WoW is because, yes, you have to do the original stuff over again, but because they have new content, it helps freshen it up for me. So, yes, I do play Mulgore and Barons all over again, but then they have the new islands, right? The Gilligajim and Lapidus. They have the Tirisfal Highlands. They have Crescent Grove, the new dungeon, and they're coming out with an even new dungeon and new raid soon. There are new dungeons at level 60. There's custom quests in Barons and pre-existing zones. There are new custom quests, and it helps freshen it up. And like, oh man, you know, I don't know this quest, I'm gonna actually have to figure it out. You know, it's a puzzle again. I have to actually use my mind and figure it out. That's the kind of stuff I like. That's why I wanted to play, you know, a server like Revelation, although we know how Revelation turned out. But and stuff like that, right? I just want new content. That's why I like Vanilla Plus. That's why if I really don't like Blizzard, I don't like how they run their servers at all. But if I'm telling them, if they want their vanilla to last, they have to make new content like OSRS did. OSRS, with their new content, is keeping it fresh, new, but in the same spirit and feel of the original game. That's what Blizzard has to do if they want to keep Classic WoW relevant and keep its player base. You know, bring out Wrath of the Lich King. People are going to play it, and then eventually they'll get bored and they'll stop playing it. But if you had a Vanilla Plus with all of the intended Hyjal, Gilligajim and Lapidus, Dragon Islands, because like, Dragon Islands, even though it's going to be in the new expansion, they were supposed to be in the original vanilla. They're on the map. Zandalar was supposed to be in vanilla WoW. It's on the map. I don't know about Telebim, but there are plenty of places they could go to. The original, as intended, Broken Isles. You know, where they're just ruins brought up from the depths. Not some, oh yeah, they were actually an entire continent the whole time that was there. No, it wasn't. That literally was pulled out your ass. They can do a lot of stuff with Vanilla WoW and keep it in the spirit of Vanilla WoW. And again, I don't like Blizzard. I don't like how they're run. I don't like how they're running the servers. But I'm trying to also help them out at the same time. And I'm telling them, if they do that, they will retain a player base, and Vanilla will be more popular than the main game. I'm telling you. But anyway, that again, that's another thing I can do in another video. Taco Bell. I'll see you later.